Well, 2019 has started off on a sad note. Last week, we lost one of our own, one of the greatest voices in professional wrestling. Mean Gene Okerlund passed away. Now, Gene was one of the greatest guys to ever pick up a microphone. He could put anybody over and make you look like a champion. And believe me, a lot of that happened back in the 1980s when all of a sudden the rock and wrestling connection started. Gene was a big part of that. And although he didn't only wrestle one time, I think, that was it, maybe twice, but Gene was the business. He was the guy that kept everybody going and made you look like something. The other one that passed away just this past Friday was one of our own. Now, some of you are going to remember him as a referee named Chris Mack. We called him Spoogie. His real name was Chris McCloskey. Now, I'm not going to tell you how he got that nickname Spoogie. There's little kids in the house. But I will tell you this about Chris McCloskey. He was genuine. He was the real deal. He was a guy that would do anything for anybody. He helped out the young kids, mostly teaching them how to stay out of trouble because we were so good at getting into trouble. At least he could pass along the information. He loved the wrestling business. But more than the wrestling business, he loved his family. Barbara and his daughter Paige. More times than not, when he would come to the arena, he would tell us about his daughter, tell us what she's doing, how she's doing in school. He just loved being a dad. I met Chris back in 1995, Champs Arena, Salisbury Beach. After the events, we would go to a little bar called the Dugout. And believe it or not, wrestlers can sing once in a while. Or at least we got drunk enough where we thought we could sing. Chris had a speech impediment. He stuttered. He would stutter so bad that sometimes you'd want to say the words for him. But when he would sing karaoke, he never stuttered. And I mention that because he overcame a handicap. And he followed a passion and went into wrestling and came up with a 23-year career, even though he had a handicap. He was a heck of a role model. When the kids would come into the school, he was the first one to go over, shake their hand, and welcome them to the training center. If there was a new guy coming into our office, Chris was always one of the first guys to go over and introduce himself. He was just that great a guy. Give me just a second. So while you're up there doing your karaoke with Whiskey Jack, the big city, just remember the rest of us down here want to thank you for being a professional. We want to thank you for being a great role model. And more than anything, we want to thank you for being a friend. And right now, we'd like to honor our fallen brothers with a 10-bell salute. Thank you very much. All right, Woonsocket, I got one question for you.